Nisha, we are online. Nice to be with you here.
Lovely to be here with you. Looking like a fabulous day. I want to say hello to all people who are online with us today. Thank you for being there. Thank you for showing so much support, so much solidarity every time I come online. And today is a very special day for all of you who don't know me. I'm Nisha Jamvwal, columnist, interiors architect, social thinker, and equal rights activist. I'm delighted to be here, even though times are tough. I have a very special guest, not only an eminent developer and infrastructure Dion, but also a very dear friend, somebody who's always been there cheerleading every step that I've taken. And I hope I can be equally, there for you, Rajesh Agnello Rajesh Athired. Events have reshaped our society, how we travel, how we buy homes. This global novel virus keeps us contained at home. And it is unsettling, isn't it? So we don't know what's going to happen going forward. Don't you agree, Agnello Rajesh?
You're absolutely bang on, Nisha. We are all suffering this global pandemic. This coronavirus has really trapped us in our houses, but at the same time, we believe in a very strong statements which says that a man is not defeated till he quits, and that's what we are. We will never quit. We will keep fighting. This is a war. This is a global war, and for the first time in the world is not classified into three categories of developed countries, developing countries, and underdeveloped countries. All the three segments, the whole world is impacted together, and this
That's
epidemic,
true.
this
In fact,
pandemic.
Rajesh, I must say that it's interesting to see that this is the time the human resilience comes into play.
Absolutely,
Indians are known
absolutely.
for jugaad, and the only constant is change. And
Yes,
I don't think in the history of mankind, except in 700 BC and in the Spanish plague of 1918, one has seen such a devastating pandemic. I think we crossed 3.5 million infected people.
that's
What is
right.
the death rate? Are you aware of the
So
fatality rate?
fatality is it is below 4%. It is fatality rate is below
Okay.
4%. But the more danger of this pandemic is how it spreads. It spreads very
Okay.
very fast, and it has got no
And it's
geographical
also
boundaries.
mutating.
It is
It's
also
not only
mutated. Yes,
mutating,
yes,
it's also one of the few pandemics that is able to infect a person who's already recovered from this same coronavirus, which is
absolutely,
actually very
absolutely.
frightening. So
Yes.
Rajesh, let me start with my first question. What is the biggest thing in everyone's mind right now is not only health, because there may be people starving of hunger shortly. Lots of companies have filed bankruptcy. So while my personal opinion is that if you're not alive, there's no point of having an economy. Having said which, one of the main questions on everyone's mind is the economy. And we see that this is going to be worse than the 2008 meltdown. It's one of the
Yes.
biggest crises in humanity. How is the economy going to shape up? Is it going to get worse? Are there going to be more companies filing for bankruptcy? What is the future going to hold into? Because you're a specialist on finance and economy.
So, Nisha, we are fighting two wars at the same time, a war for life and a war for livelihood. All these wars are
Yes,
happening simultaneously. The government will have to play a big role, which they are playing. Every government of the world is playing a key role. The only way to revive life is to be protected from the coronavirus to a great extent,
correct.
which we are all doing as per the guidelines of the government. To revive
Right,
the economy so that we ensure livelihood, government will have to invest a lot of money in the economy. So it is going to be a reflection. Government is going
right,
to take loans, entrepreneurs are going to take loans, and everybody is going to survive on a loan economy. Because a loan needs to be repaid, people have to work, and because people will work, the economy will function. It's a
right,
circular moment, and it's a game which everybody has to play together. The whole
right.
public, the whole people along with the government will have to play this game, and this is what is on the cards of the government also. There is going to be huge infrastructure based investments which will happen. Expenditure by the government is income to the people, and income to the people is expenditure to the economy, which will flush funds into the economy for the livelihood to get back onto their feet. This is a process which might take some time, but it will happen. So we are overcoming the challenges of the pandemic by restricting our movements, which is temporary for the moment. It will be unfolding in stages. We are at least at the fag end of the lockdowns, which is being witnessed by the whole world on a mass scale. But the
Right.
infrastructure investments of the government is what is going to bring the economy back to shape. And that also is happening world over. And India is taking a very lead role in that. The
I
infrastructure
think
ministers,
Mr.
everybody.
Modi, Prime Minister Modi is doing a great job. And I think the Indian people are cooperating in ways that one hadn't really expected, because we are a VIP, VVIP nation with a lot of people, throwing names. But each and every citizen has come through. People are cooperating, and those less initiated, less, maybe less privileged, are also coming through, staying at home, understanding the importance of this situation,
Yes,
the
yes,
gravity
yes.
of this situation. Yeah.
Yes. Nisha, a lot of your friends are asking plenty of questions. My announcement to all the people online, first 15 minutes we are going to discuss between ourselves, and then we will be moving towards your questions. But thanks a ton for so many people getting so active and asking questions. It is a cause of concern for everybody. Government is definitely playing a big role. Honorable Minister Mr. Nitin Gadkari has promised 15 lakh crore investments in the road infrastructure over the next 2 years. My request would be, and my request with all on behalf of my friends and my organizations would be, 15 lakh crores need to be invested over a period of 12 months so that people will start getting money faster and the economy will come back to its feet quicker. Also, the finance ministry needs to take cognizance of the fact that people are not being able to pay salaries, especially in the SME and MSME sectors. So my request would be there should be a moratorium loan which should be given to be paid over a period of 5 years with no repayment for the next first 2 years, and that too 4 times of the salaries that the organizations are paying. So, for example, if an MSME is paying a cost of 2.5 lakh rupees salary per month, they should be given a financial assistance loan of 10 lakhs a month for 2 years buffer period, which comes to 2.4 crores to be repaid over a period of 5 years. Those kind of methodologies and decisions will bring fire and force into the economy, and people will get that support, Nisha.
Thank you.
So,
So you wanted to ask me something, Rajesh?
yeah, Nisha. So what I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you was, you are a absolute good strategist and vocalist. You are very vocal about uh, equal rights mission that you follow and what you pursue, and you have created a global group on that. So can you explain the audience what do you mean by equal rights and how it will impact in this current scenario of the pandemic?
Well, more than just equal rights, I'm a social thinker, I'm a social worker, and I don't want to say social entrepreneur because I don't want to sound pompous here. I'm actually a social worker, just doing work at the grassroots. I want to say that the time has come when we need to be a little more humane, we need to be a little more philanthropic. And while this discussion is predominantly on finance and the economy, I think every human being that can afford it and that doesn't need the money needs to go online and engage people, motivate people, be a little more philanthropic than only think about money. Because at this time, humanity needs you, people need you, people are dying, there are no body bags for people. We've reached the stage where this is not a global party of workout videos and wine videos and food videos. There has to be a little sensitivity here to humanity. So, Agnello Rajesh, what I'm also doing is I'm trying to help ISKCON generate funds for 4,000 to 8,000 meals a day. That has been
Wow.
my focus and my profession right now. Also giving, a lot of help and support in terms of anxiety and stress. Lots of people are dying of anxiety and stress, not only corona. There are suicides. There's also women are being abused at home because they are, there's a lot of proximity. Husbands and wives are home. So there's a lot of abuse also. And as for equal rights, I'd like to say that that's been a passion of mine for the last 10 years. I have an NGO to this effect. And I appeal to not only you, but all the developers and all the builders online. I think you were there at the last, real estate
Yes.
symposium where I spoke on equal rights. And I
Yes.
beseeched every developer, but every human being to have ramps, to have accessible restrooms, to have accessibility as one of the agendas. It's a normal thing, isn't it, Rajesh? All over the
Absolutely,
world,
absolutely,
Agnello Rajesh,
absolutely.
we
Yes,
have ramps, we have accessibility, so much so that the Met, in the pyramid that they have inside the Metropolitan Museum, they have ramps. So,
absolutely.
but at this moment, if you can go online, give yoga classes, all the counselors and psychiatrists go online, talk about how to combat stress, which I will talk about a little later. I want to actually tell everyone that this is the time you can come through for humanity. You can, be a little more kind rather than being mercenary. Agnello Rajesh, recently a film actor put out some videos and was charging for them. So a lot of the viewers said that, this is one time you've got so much money, you don't need to charge. And I will agree on that. So that's my
Lovely.
take on philanthropy. But
Fantastic.
Agnello Rajesh, what bothers me is that President Trump has declared that he's going to bring, slowly, or not slowly, actually phase out the lockdown, not slowly. And that's come up for a lot of criticism, because what I feel is, yes, the economy is important. Yes, work and offices are important. Yes, livelihoods are important. But of what use are they if there's no life? Because the coronavirus is only becoming more virulent, more smart, and adapting to different temperatures and different peoples. So, do you agree with this decision of Trump? I mean, who feels that only the economy must revive? And he made a statement which came up for a lot of criticism last evening, where he said that, yeah, there will be some deaths, but the economy has to start. So, what is your opinion on that? On
Well, you
lockdown,
cannot be,
quarantine?
yeah, absolutely. You cannot be not being empathetic towards the population. You cannot allow people to die. The primary role of a government
Yes.
is to protect the lives. At the same time, it is a very tough situation for all political leaders who are leading cities, countries, and nations, because they have to balance the economy as well as they have to protect the life. So I'm sure government is researching. He has put it up in a very crude way, though. That should not be the communication that you need to do in this part of the time, because having
Yes.
expressing a meaning that life is not have any value but economy is more valuable is a wrong sentiment to touch. But at the same time, economy has to revive. People have to swing back into actions. People have to become precautionary, follow the guidelines of the government, because they are researching on a global level.
So, we
So
are talking about a new normal, is
the
it?
new normal, it is a
We
new
are talking
normal.
about a new normal.
It is
So
no
this
more.
is the new jargon that's being bandied
Yes,
about. What I want to
yes,
ask you is, in my opinion, the new normal is going to be about excessive hygiene, about
yes, yes.
excessive social distancing. How is and the new normal? How is social distancing? Um,
So social.
excessive hygiene. How is it going to incorporate itself into corporate culture?
So till yesterday, we were concerned only about our personal hygiene and our office hygiene and our house hygiene. Now onwards, you need to become responsible for the entire environment. So you need to become the soldier to protect your environment also. So it is going to bring more responsibilities to your shoulders. Social distancing is a practical problem forever. You cannot maintain social distancing in local trains of Mumbai or the buses of Mumbai or the traffic jams in the roads or
But the
at the malls.
buses are the nerve center of Bombay.
Yes,
How
yes,
are people going to
yes.
commute?
So the
Is everyone
solution
going to have
of,
to buy a nano?
no, it is not possible. There has to be a medication, there has to be a vaccination in the long run. For the next few months, social distancing is going to be of prime importance till there is a medical solution. The medical solution is the only way we can come out of this situation. And at the same time, we have to be absolutely alert on our surroundings at all possible times. So this is going to be the new normal. You have to be conscious about everything else other than your personal life also. It's not only about you. You have to be responsible for the environment. So, Nisha, my
Very
ask to
true.
you is, my
I
ask
agree.
to you would be, what is your take for the architectural and the interiors changes that is going to happen because of this pandemic in the infrastructure of the country, as well as the real estate development that would happen for commercial, for offices, and for residential? Since you're a professional in that
Um,
sector, I would like to ask you this question.
Thank you, Rajesh. So, what I feel, Agnello Rajesh, is that working from home has become the new norm.
Yes.
And post lockdown, a lot of people may end up feeling that this is the best way to work. It saves a lot of rent, it saves a lot of overheads. And so in terms of design, there was a new trend last year. As a developer, you may be aware, there was a trend of two master bedrooms in luxury apartments, because women began to, independent women, working women began to feel that they would want more space. That being married doesn't necessarily mean that you can't watch maybe Game of Thrones at night if your husband doesn't want to watch Game of Thrones. That was a new trend which I wrote about last year. This year the new trend is going to be home offices. And I think before people decide on fancy living rooms, people are going to decide on home offices. And if there are 2 or 3 working people at home, there are going to be 2 or 3 home offices. And if you don't have the space, then I sincerely suggest you create cubicles in one room, very much like a modular office, in commercial spaces. So that's one of the predictions I have. Another would be that the more people stay at home and try to practice social distancing for 2 or 3 years, or maybe just 1 year, there would be the need of space. Families are staying together. Personal space, personal privacy is very important for the longevity of a relationship, respecting each other's views, not enforcing your opinion upon your spouse, on your friends. So that kind of distancing would only come if that's incorporated into the design of the home. A third
Fantastic.
prediction is that, I don't believe fashion and luxury will miss a season. I don't believe interiors will miss a season. I believe that while a human being is alive, the design gene is alive. However, there will be a certain understatement, a certain sobering up. At when this happened, India was on its zenith. The world had just opened up to bling. I see an end to that, literally, like the existentialist period of the world wars, where Sartre and Nietzsche wrote very depressing literature. So I see a very similar period in humanity where people are going to gravitate to the more somber. There was a very frightening statement made recently saying, prepare yourself for loss. So people are going to have loss. People are going to lose friends and close people. Already the prediction that when I wrote last month about there being no space in hospitals, that's happened. We are seeing it happening now. There's no space. The doctors are spent. Even doctors are losing their lives. So it's a very painful situation in humanity. Like I said, this is not a global party to holiday and, drink wine publicly. This is a time to commiserate with your fellow human beings. Stay positive, but commiserate. So the third prediction is that there will be a lot of, sobering down of colors, darker blues, teals, a cruise done. I don't see too much of fuchsias, reds, bright colors in interiors, in fashion. I see, in luxury, I see that desire, which was there for experiential luxury, has gone. That was the millennial trend, wasn't
So
it?
this is the new change
Today,
which is coming
it's
up.
going to
This is
be
the new
about
change which is
buying
coming up.
homes.
Yes.
Yes, it's more about ownership, and it's
Yes.
more about accumulating. Accumulating always gives you a sense of security, which
Yes.
brings me to a very important question to you, Agnello Rajesh, that this is the time people would want a home. So maybe it's not the right time for investment because people are feeling very cagey about spending. But isn't it the right time when people would actually want their own roof on their heads because they are feeling worried, they have to pay rents? Do you think this would also give impetus to people buying their own
Absolutely.
homes?
Absolutely. The government is consciously going to create a situation where people move out of urban cities to the nearby locations of the urban cities and create new areas of living. And for that, this particular infrastructure development, which the government is doing, is going to do a lot of help. There are 22 large road projects which are underway, out of which 7 are actively being constructed. Samruddhi Mahamarg is the country's largest road network being laid between Mumbai and Nagpur, which is 703 kilometers, which is a fantastic infrastructure which is going to bring Nasik, Nagpur, Mumbai very close to each other. Government is going to encourage low density communities which will be settled on the outskirts of metro cities like Mumbai, Thane, Navi Mumbai. Even it will be happening in Chennai. It will be happening in multiple locations, Pune, Delhi. All these places are going to be
What about
reducing
hospitals,
in
Agnello Rajesh?
congestion.
What do you feel
Hospitals,
about more
yes.
hospitals?
So more hospitals to the tune of the requirement as per the pandemic is not possible ever. So people are now being educated on how your houses can turn into places where you can be taken care of yourself with the assistance of medical staff at your house itself. So these kind of new models have started coming up. Nobody on this earth, no government on this earth can provide hospitals to the number of people who are infected. That is practically not possible. That is huge infrastructure. But the government is coming up with ideas like, for example, the railway coaches were converted into ICU segments by the Indian
And
Railways, which
also
was
the
a smart way.
NSCI dome in
Yes,
Worli.
even the NSCI
The
dome in Worli
NSCI
was
dome in
done.
Worli
Yes,
has
yes,
been
yes,
created, yeah.
yes. So there
Also,
is a
I think, Agnello Rajesh, with the paucity of staff, I think a lot of Bombay people, especially, have less staff. So I think, don't you feel that developers like you have to make more homes in? I studied and worked in California, so I find homes in America, in Japan, in Europe are way more conducive to self-help and more convenient for personal. So hasn't this period, in my opinion, this period has shown us Indians especially that we need to be more independent in terms of self-help. And that brings me to my, very fond question about robots and artificial intelligence, drones. Are these going to play a greater role in infrastructure development, in our personal lives even, because of
absolutely,
the way things are going?
absolutely, Nisha.
I see that
Artificial
in
intelligence,
Shenzhen and
yes,
in, yeah.
yes. Artificial
In
intelligence,
China, they've
machine learning,
incorporated
they have
this to deal
incorporated.
with
Yes,
the Malays, isn't
yes,
it?
yes, yes. In
Yes.
fact, artificial intelligence and robots will play a very critical role. Robots will play a very critical role, especially where there is threat of life. For example, in US, robots have already started playing the role of a medical support team. So that is how you protect your medical teams also, because you can't lose medical people in the casualty like the pandemic which we are witnessing currently. So robots are going to play a critical role. Artificial intelligence is going to give us the power of the data to take corrective decisions in life. So there are questions pouring in, Nisha. There is a question from Nilambari Munot. Do you see changes in the way infrastructure industry will operate lockdown? If yes, then how?
Why don't you answer that, Rajesh?
Okay, so do you see changes in the infrastructure industry? Yes. Government is going to rapidly go on in the expansion spree for infrastructure because, like I said, investments from the government is the only solace to come out of this economic crisis,
But
and
is
it has
that
already
happening,
started. It is already,
Agnello
it
Rajesh?
is, it is
Because
already.
there hasn't been, while I'm a great fan and I have blatantly supported Prime Minister Modi,
Yes, yes.
apart from his moral support of human beings and his absolute being there for each and every Indian, I feel he should also be, announcing certain relief for his people in terms of taxes, GST, at least some certain relief for his people like me who've, blindly, loved him. So don't you feel that he should be doing more for his people in this time,
So
and
the
even
expectations,
declaring these things that he's
yes,
doing?
yes, yes. Expectations are high. People want financial assistance. Alok Nag is a young entrepreneur who's in the disbursements of loans for people who are stranded for cash in trying times. There has to be further assistance like moratorium period, instant cash capital requirements, expansion of your working capital facilities, not repaying your principal amount for quite some time to come, at least 2 years to 5 years period. These are the public's expectations. I'm sure Mr. Modi is listening to this. The finance minister is listening to this. Rohit Raul, Nisha has asked a question. One of the earlier American presidents says American roads are good not because America is rich. America is rich because the American roads are good. Your take on this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think
So
that's a brilliant statement. I think roads connect people, especially since we have villages, we have places which are not, the migrant situation is just privy to this. We need more
absolutely,
ways of travel than just trains. I think we've seen, something this pandemic has done, Rohit, is it's made us, it surprised us of the flaws in our system. And I think with Prime Minister Modi leading us, I think he will take that feedback and he's doing whatever he can to fill these gaps. That's my opinion. And I definitely agree with you that we do need better roads, and roads are the backbone of a country. So definitely America's greatest strength, and I've used roads in America to go cross state, which I've not done in India, because I mean, what is even the safety of those roads? We need to even consider that, because there are so many accidents on one of the best highways that we have, which is the Bombay Pune highway. So yes, Rohit, I'm 100% in agreement with you. Any
Thank
other
you.
questions, Agnel or Rajesh? Yes.
Yeah, so Alok Nag has asked a question. One should not go for job cuts, as we would be witnessing emerging India post 9-12 period month period. So he's saying that job cuts should not be the solution for the current pandemic. We should survive, sustain, and grow. Somehow we need to manage as entrepreneurs. So that's a very good thought, Alok. Nisha, your take on that? I will also add to it.
Yes, Alok, I 100% agree with you. And I think that this is the time that the government must show support to its people. Like I said, there have to be reliefs. And, you know, one of the things he said in his last speech was that we must be given not only support, but people must not, cut wages where one can. This is the time to be generous. This is the time to give. This is the time to do, all those people who are in a place where there can be philanthropic. Don't spend your time, posting workout videos. Go out there and help people. You have to be sensitive to those people who are dying out there, losing close family members. You're not, there was a famous saying before all this happened, that you don't know the devastation of the big C, cancer, until you face it. You keep saying, it's never going to happen to me. And this is the other C, corona. Let's not be too sure that it will not hit us. The way it's going, while the world is looking at stopping lockdowns, bringing a closure to lockdowns, the virus is only getting more virulent. So yes, I definitely agree with, was it Alok?
Yeah, that was Alok Nag.
Was the
That's right.
question by, yeah. So I
Alok.
agree with you, Alok Nath. I think this is the time to accept change with grace, and to be generous to the people that are our dependents. Even help, like chauffeurs and house help. Maybe they can't come, but please don't cut their salaries. People who work in your office, your assistant, people whose gas runs with your money, metaphorically
Absolutely,
speaking.
absolutely, Nisha. In fact, these are the times where the true character of an entrepreneur will be displayed. The true character of an individual will be known. There is a question from Milind Dige. How can entrepreneurs survive in this pandemic? So, Milind, confidence and faith and hope and the support of the government, support of all the people that you know, and being a part of an ecosystem will definitely help you to sustain and survive in this scenario. Nisha, you can answer this question from Dr. Raviraj Ahir Rao, who's one of the most premium Vastu consultants of the country. How do you find scope for Vastu Shastra in real estate, as more than 90% people ask for it? So in this pandemic, what do you suggest, since you're into interiors? What is your take on Vastu Shastra?
Um, I suggest that, I've always used a combination of feng shui and vastu without being too fanatic. There has to be a balance in life. I suggest that you absolutely incorporate things like, fountains, mirrors in the right places, but don't start breaking walls and remodeling your house. This is not the time to do it. Firstly, labor is scarce. People have returned to their villages. So I don't think that Vastu, there was a Vastu Shastra person who came to my house once, and he said, "Oh my God, you need to throw this. It's absolutely, khandit, which means it's damaged. It was a 200-year-old museum piece. You can't do that. You have to be sensitive to your client, and you have to." So there was another person who said, put this sticker on it so that it nullifies the effects of the age and the of that piece. So what I said earlier about resilience, one has to have a balance, isn't it? Even for the
Absolutely.
lockdown, I think before this chat, Agnello, Rajesh, we discussed lockdown, and we
Yes.
discussed that while lockdown is very important, life is about balance. There cannot
Yes.
be absolutes. One has to look at every aspect. So that's my answer to Vastu. But I also have an answer to the entrepreneurial question that you asked earlier. Agnello, Rajesh, I feel that in things like entrepreneurship, this is the time for jugaad, for resilience, for showing innovation. You have to reinvent. You're not going to be able to do things the way they were done. Acceptance is the key right now. Human
Fantastic.
beings have to understand that things are not going to be the same again. In fact, I'm hoping that when this finishes, and I hope it does, we still don't know, but when this finishes, I hope people will come back to the world being more sensitive, being kinder, being more humane to fellow beings. Because may I just share a very important learning that human beings should
Sure,
have
sure,
taken.
Nisha.
You know,
Sure.
Agnello, Rajesh, if somebody else gets coronavirus, you are affected by it. So this resonates with the philosophy I've always held of one common consciousness in human beings. If I
Absolutely.
celebrate you, Agnello, Rajesh, you celebrate me. Human
Yes.
beings are interconnected. If we
Yes.
hurt human beings anywhere in the world, we are hurt ourselves. And I
Absolutely.
think the lesson corona has taught us is that please look out for your fellow human beings. Love, compassion, these are not obsolete things that died with our great grandparents. This is
Absolutely.
something which is into play now. Please show love, please show compassion. This is a crisis, this is an emergency in human beings. You agree, Agnello?
Fantastic. I
Do
absolutely
all the
agree to
viewers
that.
agree?
Absolutely, absolutely, Nisha. There is a question from Sangeet Kumar. One or two suggestions show how brands can be compassionate. Sangeet Kumar, there is only one way of showing compassion. Take care of your people, your team, your vendors, and your customers. That is the best service that one can do for mankind. No dialogue,
Brilliant.
no jargons, nothing. Every entrepreneur needs to take care, become the government for his team, become the support for his team, provide them with whatever has been committed. Don't cut their salaries, don't cut their jobs. Stand with them like a pillar in these times of need. That is the best that a brand can do. Nisha, there is a question for you from Tanuja Rane, who's a very good interior designer. What contribution to society will give meaning to my profession of interior designing in this scenario?
I didn't understand what is the
What
support.
contribution to the society will give meaning to my profession of interior designing in this scenario? Very nice question by Tanuja Rane. So, as an interior designer, what can be the support to the society in these trying times?
As an interior designer, I think one can help with online solutions, with online suggestions, with DIY classes. You can make videos of do it yourself. You can engage people at their homes, you know, to paint their walls, to paint their homes, to do remodeling, to do revamps, write blogs. Students of interior design, this is the time you can use your education to come out there to support people who want change. Some cheer, some comfort is the need of the hour. It's very important for people to live in a surrounding because they are all at the moment you know, encased in their homes. So this is the time where you can actually edit out, you know, your spring cleaning, which you have
Fantastic.
done for many years. Encourage your clients to declutter. Staff is not going to be as accessible. So Tanuja, please help people out there without, you know, looking at monetary gain. Go out there and help your people to you know, deal with this situation through design. Design has
Fantastic.
always been an uplifter, has always
Yes,
been a
absolutely.
cheering factor
It's a
in people's
solution. It's a
lives.
solution.
A
Yes,
color, yes,
it's a solution.
so
Thank
it's
you,
a
Nisha.
beautiful way to bring change.
Yes, yes, yes. And Tanuja, you need to give solutions to the people, to your customers on how they can use their existing setup to make it more comfortable to work from home at the moment without any financial or capital investments in this time of hour. And also you can give them progressive plans for their expenditure, where when the times become better, they can become more proficient towards creating the working space which will be at home. Gautam Burke, you have got a very good question as an architect. Your question is the answer itself. It is very important to have satellite towns besides metro cities having good infrastructure. That is what the government is working towards, and housing around the metro cities is going to take a big jump in this coming years, where people will want to live in less density and less polluted and less congested
Very
areas.
important.
Very important. Yes. So that was a Very good question, Gautam. Thank you so much. Nisha, there is a question from Skimmy Gupta. My question to both Nisha and Rohit. So this is not Rohit, this is Rajesh. What will be the future of entrepreneurs, bloggers like us in the new economy space? Skimmy, you have become most important in this era because now the world is
This is the
digital.
most important time for you, Skimmy, to
Yes,
support people, to give them solutions, to
yes,
research on the
yes,
net. I'm myself a blogger, as you know, Skimmy. Skimmy is a good friend also.
yes.
Skimmy, I think this is the time you should go out there without looking at any gain for yourself and educate people on how to deal with this. I really want to, Agnello Rajesh, I really want to say something important that
Please.
please deal with this situation in a adroit way. Please don't turn to anti-anxiety medicines, benzodiazepines, sleeping pills. They'll only worsen your immunity. So, Skimmy, write about immunity, write about the biggest malaise apart from corona right now is stress and anxiety. People, I mean, I had somebody ringing me up last week saying he wants to commit suicide at 2 o'clock in the morning. So, my answer to that would be do a little yoga, do breathing, call up a friend a day, have a chat, nothing like fraternity, nothing like for me having friends like Agnello Rajesh to turn to always. In fact, when we decided about this talk, I must tell you one of the things he told me, Nisha, we must leave everyone with a sense of positivity. And I thought that was such a beautiful thing to say to me because sometimes we do get, sucked in by what's happening. We do
Yes.
begin to feel that, I mean, I'm actually writing to people telling them, the important people in my life, that I love them because I feel before it's too late we must apprise people about what we feel. We must make peace with the people we've had recriminations with. So I think it's a very grave period in humanity, but it's also a period where we look for that light and we look for that sense of for that sense of hope. Because
Absolutely.
you started this conversation by saying that that's the only thing human beings are known for, their sense of hope, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. And Reshma, thank you for this comment. There is going to be a trend in consumer buying behavior in the real estate sector. People will want more space. They want it more economical. They would love to own the land. They would love to be on the outskirts of metro cities and still make their living from the metro cities, staying outside the city limits. So thank you, Reshma, for your question. That is Jatin from Dubai. Thank you, Jatin, for your comments. Nisha, Sushant Raurane is a very young entrepreneur and he is the co-founder of Adroid Biomed, which is a very fantastic company giving solutions for boosting immunity. His question is, boosting immunity is at the core of fighting immunity. What is your take on immunity and how do you boost your immunity? So I think there are many things you need to eat right, but I want Nisha to answer that question. Yes. Yes, Nisha, go ahead.
Immunity, one of the most important things for immunity is happiness, and
Yes,
happiness comes from sharing, caring, and giving. If you have an argument with somebody, the first person who gets hurt is you. So
absolutely.
avoid recriminations, avoid make peace with people you love. The second thing that gives the maximum amount of immunity is the dopamine rush, which comes from philanthropy, kindness, giving, sharing, and caring. This is the time to reach out to people and show them the way, people who are feeling lost. There are things you can incorporate in your diet real quick without boring you guys. Onion is being found to have the greatest properties for immunity. Make a poultice if you have corona and put it on your chest. Make onion stew. Incorporate onions in your diet like never before. Please go on my Facebook motivation page. It's called Nisha Jamvwal Motivation. I've written reams and reams about onions. Also, bananas. Bananas have a lot of vitamin D, which also brings me to sunlight. Please don't sit hold in. Don't worry about getting
Tannin.
tanned. Please go out there and take a lot of fresh air and sun because that brings you a lot of vitamin D apart from cheer. And friends give you a lot of immunity because of their support, because of
Yes,
conversation. And one important thing before I end this answer is an emergency kit. You never know if you're going to get corona, and if you do, please don't get devastated. It's like any other flu. You're probably going to spend 3 to 10 days See
in
the video
isolation.
by Chris Como.
Yeah.
He tells you, he's the CNN guy who got corona, and he shows you keep a kit with oxygen, an oximeter with a parameter you're used to. Don't use ibuprofen to be bad for corona. You keep your Vicks vapor rub in it. Keep things like your regular things to tide you through. There's no medicine as yet. Please don't have chloroquine without a doctor being involved. This is at this time where your
Yes.
MNC kit have. And there are lots and lots of solutions in Ayurveda and homeopathy. We are a very rich country in terms of Ayurveda. So try and find, I post a lot on Ayurveda on my page. So please go and look at my motivation page. It's created specifically for survival. And what
Fantastic.
better
Thank you.
time than this?
Absolutely. Thank you, Nisha. Kunal, that's a very interesting questions. Cash-strapped SMEs will have to go to the banks, create temporary arrangements for loans, take a larger moratorium period and survive and sustain. That is the only solution. Everybody from the government to every entrepreneur has to borrow funds, tide over this current temporary scenario, sustain and grow and support the people in your team and your organization. So, Nisha, we will definitely go towards the fag end of the show by taking two more questions. Hiren Karya, work from home will fail. Team building, motivation, accountability, domestic disturbances, etc., etc. So, what are the solutions? So, work from home is not a complete solution, but it is a makeshift arrangement which is going to definitely change the culture of working. What's your take on that, Nisha?
I think that working from home can also be a solution. Just before Corona, people had already started working from home. Domestic disturbances don't have to be there. I have people working from home here. I work from home. You make your space, cordon it off, insist on privacy, insist on a space, and please give space also. You can't take space without giving it. One thing I've learned in human relationships is you have to give a lot, and you have to expect it only once you've given. You can't start with expectations. So if somebody is disturbing you at home, start by giving them a little space. And while it is a makeshift solution for a lot of people, a lot of people in IT, it could be a permanent solution. You never know. Life is about change, and we must
Absolutely.
embrace it at this moment.
Absolutely. Yes, Nisha. Santosh, I agree with your statement. Since the new normal is working from home, then it makes sense to stay at a location close to nature to enhance immunity. Anyways, with infra projects, you are well connected to the cities. Yes, that is the whole core of this conversation today, that the infrastructure is definitely going to decongest the cities and improve the quality of life, because all of us need pure oxygen and pure air to breathe and live in. So, one last statement from both of us before we conclude, Nisha.
You go ahead, and then I'll end, Agnello.
Okay. So what I feel is government will definitely develop all the infrastructure, but the other infrastructure which we need very, very badly is not only the roads, which takes us physically from one place to the other, but also it should take our thoughts from one place to the other by creating robust infrastructure for 5G networks, which is already happening thanks to Jio, and that has become the strongest company in the country, probably at a valuation of $5.15 trillion, whereas the economy of India is $3 trillion. Because of this Facebook tie-up with Mukesh Ambani's company Jio, the valuation has jumped to $5.15 trillion. We will see a robust change in the communication systems also, which will empower all of us to be at home and work from home, which means the most important belonging in your life is going to be a very good piece of real estate with good size, with good location, with good place, and for every budget it can fit in, because you can today buy real estate at the price that you want. The location will have to be compromised or selected, and everything is available at the price that you want. So have a good shelter above your head,
Thank
become
you.
productive, and be connected. Thank you. Yes, Nisha.
I want to end by saying that give a hug to everyone you love. Uh, do whatever it is that you've been saving up for that one rainy day. See all the box sets that you'd saved up. Don't only spend this time on work, especially your parents, especially your loved ones. Spend time with them. There's no time like now to cut back a little. And if you can afford it, go out there, help the people in need, and also take that gap year that you promised yourself after college and you didn't. I didn't. I've been working since the age of 17, and I'm going to take this gap year. I'm not going to be doing anything commercial until next May. Everything I do will be for community. I also want to end on a personal note by saying one of the first few times I had met Rajesh was during a tree planting initiative. We got up at 6 in the morning and we went to plant trees. Plant trees, do things for nature. I want to
Yes,
end this chat by saying that, nature has probably come out there and said, hey, you've treated me so badly. This is my time now. That lesson for me, the environmental lesson, is the single most important takeaway from this pandemic. Please go back from this stage feeling more compassionate towards animals. Love animals, give them space, don't eat them up. Please understand that the voiceless and the defenseless is those creatures that we need to, whether they are your staff at home, whether they are your watchmen, whether they are animals on the street, whether they are creatures in the zoo. Please be more kind and more compassionate. And guys, this is not the end. Rajesh and I want to take this to another platform next week. So maybe we'll see you on Insta Live. Whatever the case be, you'll see us back soon. Thank you so much for being a very participatory and a fun audience, so inclusive. We see you again very soon. Thank you.
thank you so much, Nisha. That was awesome. And thank you, all the viewers and the people who participated with asking questions. God bless you and have a God blessed future. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.